Hello, family, and welcome back to 𝑊eDefine the podcast. I'm your host, D, and I am here with, I'm just gonna call him light skin right now because we was struggling a few minutes ago. I know him as Robert, but everyone else knows him as Mosaicc. Say what's up.
What up, what up, what up? Call me what you like. It's
right.
She know me long enough, so she could call me Robert.
I like Robert.
I don't like other people calling me it, though. If you met me as Mosaicc, stick with that.
And then if they met you as Robert?
Stick with that, but they already know that. Anybody who knows me as Robert already knows that.
I was struggling at first to, like, I wanted to call you Mosaicc because I thought that was what you were more comfortable with. And then I'm like, fuck it, I just gotta call him Robert. Like, I gotta call him Robert.
I don't like when I'm on, like, if I'm hanging out, like, with a girl and she calls me Mosaicc, it feels, like, a little strange.
Really?
It feels, like, impersonal.
You be hanging out with a lot of girls?
Not a whole lot. Every once in a long while.
Every once in a while. So a really awesome story about Robert. We used to go to Cyprus together. Mm-hmm. And a couple of weeks ago, I sent him this very, I'd say, mushy text message or a mushy message. When I was going to school with Robert, my girlfriend at the time passed away. She died by suicide. Tara, you guys have heard about her a couple of times. And Robert, I feel like, let me go back. Over the last couple of years, God has been, as I've prayed to heal past Tara's passing, randomly, God, I feel like it's God because I don't be remembering. He brings people, he reminds me of people that were good to me during that time. And if anybody knows me during that time, I was a hot fucking mess because I was so sad. I was just going through it. I lost all my hair. It was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what it was, but I was randomly thinking and you came up. And when you came up, all I could like feel was like, oh, I can't believe I forgot about him. And you always like asked me how I was doing. You never needed anything from me. You just always checked on me. And I always felt like, damn, I can't believe I forgot that. And I just love you for being there. Because
How could you?
How could I, right? Because I was just going through it. Nah. But that just shows how good of a person you are. Because that was a crazy time.
You know, to be honest, I don't particularly remember like being very good to you. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy. A lot of times I look back and wonder like, man, what kind of person was I being at that moment? So it's nice to know that like at a time that I wasn't trying or, just being myself, that like that's your experience with me. Shit, I hope everyone has that experience with me.
Another really great thing about you is you have a strong personality. And I don't know if you guys follow him. We'll get into some deeper stuff, but Robert says whatever the fuck he wants.
Facts. And
you are very unapologetic about it. You are very like direct about it. You don't beat around the bush. And I struggle with that personally. We were just talking about it. And how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, how do you say things? You say things that people think that they would not normally say. You just say them.
It's natural. I mean, I didn't do anything to earn it. You know what I mean? It's like the color of your hair. That's the way that I am. That's the way I was, as far as I can remember. That's the way that I've been, I was shy as a kid. I remember being shy, like super shy as a kid. And somewhere between like 10 and 12, I
came out of that
some audacity. And I think like I try to say what's real, and I try to say what I really feel, even when it's ugly. And I don't know, I think that you could say, if you have respect from the people around you, you can say what the fuck you want. Yeah. If you don't have that, then, maybe you want to watch what you say until you get some respect from the people around you. But if you have respect from the people around you, you can say what you want.
What does respect look like? In your eyes, what does respect look like? Because over the years, for me, respect has changed. At one point, I would think respect was like, if you listened to me when I talked, if you looked at me, if you acknowledged what I was saying, and although some of those things still hold true, respect is like really communicating with me. It's so much more than what I was taught.
It's a lot. It's a lot of things, like the love people show you when you're not around. You know, the way that people respond to what you say. Yeah. You know, that's my least favorite thing about social media. There's a lot of good, a lot of bad about social media, but one of my least favorite things is it gives a platform to people to speak, and sometimes even speak to thousands or millions. But these are people who, if you were in a room full of people, you wouldn't even be able to speak. Like, you're too people speak on, like, for instance, let's say you take a famous stripper, okay, who dropped out of school in 9th grade, okay, and never went to get educated, but she been making money because she was stripping, and she's good looking, so she has a lot of followers. Yes. Now she wants to speak on education or a subject that you need to be educated in to speak. Right. Thousands of people might agree with her. She might say what feels good. Right. She might say what, you know, people want to hear, but she might be completely inaccurate. And if we were in a education like setting environment, exactly, she would shut the fuck up, because she'd go, oh shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. All these people are smarter than me. But in the privacy of her home and whatever's going on, she could talk about politics or this, and it's like, that's what I don't like. So, you know, I think the way people respond to what you say a lot of times can be a sign of respect, especially if it's somebody that you respect, who respects your mind. That's nice. That's a good point. That's a really you should have saw his face. That's a good point. So Redefined is all about talking about these moments that have happened in your life, lows, and then how you built from there. And so one of the things that I admire about you is that you're a single father, and you are not only a single father, but you are an active single father. Faithfully. Yes, you are. Like, you're amazing. Your son is so cute. And he has a little skateboard that's like this big. He's so cute. How has that journey been for you? This being a single father and working, and also you're still going after your dreams. What is that? Like, what is that like? It's hard, but it's a lot of work. And actually, I shouldn't say it's hard. It's a lot of work. So with most things, you want to put the work in, you're going to have results that you like. And if you don't put the work in, you might not like the results. So I try to put the work in, and so far I like the results, you know, and it's kind of a confidence booster, because I felt in my life I had a lot of periods where I was not as confident as I should have been. Like, I thought I couldn't do something when I was way more than capable. Give me an example. Fatherhood. You didn't think you would be a good dad? I knew I would be a good dad from the point the child was 5 and older. But as far as baby years, as far as a newborn baby, I knew nothing. I don't have a little brother, little sister. I mean, I took care of a cousin of mine when I was like 18 or 19, and he was one and a half for a summer. And other than that, I had no experience. The first diaper I ever changed was Jeremiah's. So what does that feel like, though? Like, the fact that you were changing a diaper? No, I can't stand you. The fact, like, you're going through this process. How did you prepare for becoming a father and getting over the hump of? I was just trying to stack. I was just trying to grind and stack. Like, I was trying to eliminate the toxins around me, which were at the time in the form of substances and negative people. Those were the things I was trying to eliminate, and what I was trying to build on was the grind, like my hustle. Like, I saved up. I was working and saving up money. Come home, work, save up money. So that was the preparation, you know. And like, I would eat out a lot on my own, a lot. You know, I go to breakfast on my own, go to lunch on my own, go to dinner on my own, and just kind of like think, you know, about things that I liked about my childhood and things I didn't like, and what I expect and what I want, and, you know. What is one thing that you knew you wanted to shift for your, like, so for me, my
my mother and I are super close. I love her. But one thing was, I didn't feel like my mother could handle anything bad that I told her broke her down. So I had a miscarriage in January, and I didn't tell her until this past March or maybe May. I didn't tell her.
You talking about this January? You just had a
January 8th, 2019. So a year ago. No. This January I was drunk the whole month. Right. No. He's stupid.
Jerry Springer shit. Right. Bring me on to national television to do this to me.
No, January 8th, 2019, I had a miscarriage, and I didn't tell my mother because I felt like she wasn't going to be able to handle it. And so I prepared myself, and then I told her, and then she cried for a week straight. And she was so sad for me. And she was just like, I can't believe that happened. You have to get pregnant again. And I'm like, fuck no. That was enough. I'm good. And it was, but I had already healed that, right? Before I even told her. So so I made sure now with raising Danny and Michaela that I'm a pillar. So they may see me cry and I may be hurt, overly emotional sometimes, but they can tell me anything and they know I'm planted wherever I am. What's the one thing that you knew becoming a father you wanted to change for your son from your childhood?
Right. Well, without speaking on like either one of my parents in a negative fashion.
Right. Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. Episode,
but we're not going to do that. No, we don't do that. So, I wanted to be, and I am, more affectionate. I'm an affectionate person, and I learned that kind of that form of love in the form of physical and verbal affection, it goes a long way and does a great thing for somebody's psychology. And so that's something that I wanted to, for sure, I felt like I wanted to improve on or take to a new standard. Yeah. I'm super affectionate. Like, you can't even tell. People see my Instagram posts of my son, but like, I'm not gonna post me kissing the hell out of him, but I do that, right? Or like, I tell him he's beautiful. You know what I mean? I talk to him like he's a girl, or not, because I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not like I tell him he's pretty when he looks pretty. I tell him he's beautiful. I tell him like, you're smart, you're beautiful, I love you, all the time, all day long.
I think that's so important though, because I don't care what anybody says. I feel like men need to hear positive things. Hell like, yeah. I don't feel like, I feel like men, oh, he fine, he look good, or you hear what you hear. But I do feel like sometimes, like, you have to pour into these men, or pour into your man, or whatever the case is, because I feel like that builds them the same way it builds me. I love hearing that I'm beautiful. I love hearing that. I love hearing someone say, like, like, just acknowledging what I've done, especially if it was because I did it out of love. And I feel like if I would have heard that stuff.
You see that, what you're saying, not to cut you off, but you could see that in the infant. Like, you could see when they do, like, he'll do something, and it might not be even something that I want him to be doing, but he'll do it, and then he'll look and go, I did it. Dad, like, acknowledge me. Right. I did something that I didn't think I could do. Yes. Like, you gotta be there. Like, so he'll piss me off because he'll grab a dirty glass off the counter and fill it with water and then walk it over in the kitchen and spill the water all over the floor. But he's like, in his head, he's like, I did it. And I'm like, I want to go in on you right now, but good job, baby. Good job, son. Good job, Papa. Yeah. That does take a lot of balance. Good job. You had to get that glass off the counter. And
I love that.
Good job, kiddo.
What's the hardest thing you feel like about dating and being a single father?
I mean, I don't find it hard dating because I don't date. So, I had a.
So you tell them don't slide in the DMs then. Don't get in there.
I mean, you can slide, but.
I can't stand you. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know. I mean, it's like it to me. My personal situation, things are different for everybody, right? So my personal situation, I don't think dating is feasible. It's not realistic. Okay. So, got my son a grip. See him 6 days a week. So when I don't see it, mostly in the daytime, work at night. So between those two things already,
there's not much
where's
time
the dating going to take place? But then on top of that, with my free time, like, you know, I have a Friday night open right now.
Right.
Where am I at? I'm doing something like this.
Yeah.
Last night I was in the studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I have aspirations that I feel, to be honest, I've been kind of falling short on my potential. Like I feel like I should have put a lot more energy and effort into this. So right now, especially, you know, because I was in a relationship.
Okay.
And it took away. And that's fine, because that's what relationships will do. That they'll take away from other things. But you know, relationships are important too. But right now, because I'm not in one,
you're on grind mode.
I'm back on grind mode. Like you know, and I'm young and I'm hungry and I want to get it and I love it. And you know, I never expected ever. I thought when the moment I found out my son's mom was pregnant, I'm like, oh man, this rap shit is over. Like nobody wants to hear from old dad rapper. No one wants to. I'm like, damn, I gotta eliminate all these friends, because all these people that I kick it with, you know, like I don't want them around my son. Like I don't want my son to be like that. Because low key, you know, like when you're involved in hip hop shit, it's a lot of people you meet, and like we could kick it, like, but do I want you around my son? So, you know, that's in my head. I'm like, this rap shit's about to be over. Nah, people love it. They love seeing me. Like girls, guys, it doesn't matter. Like gang members, like I have gang members in my DMs talking about how I'm inspiring them and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I feel like it's like a beautiful thing to see a man take care of his kids and to still do and to still work on their dream and to still work. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still planting. I feel like that plants a seed within itself.
No excuses.
There's no excuses.
No excuse, just produce.
Ooh, that's good.
I stole that shit, but I want to run with, man, the Drew League. I went to the Drew League, man. I saw LaMelo Ball play at the Drew League. Well, I mean, I've been to the Drew League before then, but like there was just one day when I look up and I saw they have a sign. That's their slogan is no excuse, just produce. But they don't push it that hard. I'm like, why does Nike needs to put this on
everything?
That's like just do it to me. No excuse,
that's better than just do it.
I'm like, so I run with it. Like I say it. I'm a basketball fan too. You know what I mean? So
I like that. No
excuse, just produce in any form or fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll put, like, for a while I was posting, like, you see like a viral video of a girl with one arm, and she takes the bar. She's working out. She takes the bar. She gets it right here, and then she does a thing with one arm. It's like, no excuse, just produce. You see a dude with no legs skateboarding. It's like, nah, no excuse, just produce. Make it happen. Period.
So we've been kind of just small talking, right? We've been talking about a lot of good things. So let's talk about this redefining moment in your life. What was it? How do you get through it? Let's go there.
Yeah. So, I have one major, like the most redefining moment of my life, and it happened when I was so young. It's crazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you?
18.
You were a baby. You were Rob.
I was little Rob at the time. But so I started partying at like 15, 16. Okay. And I used to justify my partying with my ability to maintain good grades, stay out of trouble. I never, got completely sucked in the way other people would, like to drugs or alcohol and anything like that. And I would justify it. I was making money. Started partying. I got sucked into the EDM scene, electronic dance music. I was in the rave scene. I'm an old school like real raver. Before the shit, back when I was doing that shit, back when people used to say like, oh, what music do you listen to? Oh, I like everything except for country and techno. That's what everybody used to say. Yes. I just don't fuck with country. No, I was doing it back when y'all didn't like quote unquote techno. Okay. Which is not the proper terminology, by the way. We call it EDM. Techno is a specific type of EDM. Okay. But yeah, so before that shit was on the radio, before EDC was socially acceptable, I was getting stones thrown at me. I had English teachers judging me because they knew that I would go to these raves. And they're like, oh, you're so smart. Why are you doing that? Like, no, but it was not acceptable. It was not some, way before you heard advertisements for it on Kiss FM or way before,
Yeah.
500,000 people are going to EDC, and you got these like mainstream corporate right-wing Americans now that are going to.
I didn't even know. Anytime when I was younger and I heard EDC, I'm like, oh, that's just a whole bunch of, excuse me, guys. That's just a whole bunch of white people on drugs, and they out there jumping around, and they hot, and they're taking ecstasy, and the ambulance is outside for them. Like, literally, that is the only thing I thought of.
I never saw, I don't know if I ever been to a party that was mostly white people, but definitely it's like it's a person with some type of privilege or some type of money thing, because like you can't just, like, these shits are expensive. The drugs are expensive.
What kind of drugs are they doing there?
Everything.
See, I remember when I was in school and weed was a big deal. Like, oh, he smoked weed. Like, so that was a big deal.
Ecstasy started popping when I was when I was a freshman in high school. When I was a freshman in high school.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated 2010. So I was a freshman in 2007.
Okay.
And in 2007, ecstasy was like socially acceptable to do. Like, people were doing ecstasy and having parties and doing ecstasy. Like, it was like not new. Obviously, it's existed, but it was like this new idea. And you gotta think, that's when rappers like Problem and shit are coming up, and they're talking about ecstasy. The Bay Area, the Thiz, the hyphy movement. What a Thiz is, they're talking about ecstasy. Like, that was that's what Thiz is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know what I thought it was.
When they say Thiz face, when they go Thiz face,
it's
because when you're on ecstasy heavy, like you get like a stank face. You get like a
why, it's nasty or something?
Nah, it's just like, you feel good, but like you're like, I don't know, people. It's weird, but that's like real. That's what this face means. That's what that whole hyphy movement.
Oh damn, it was about like ecstasy.
That's what the word Thiz.
Yeah.
And if you think about acting hyphy.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Shit. No, I didn't. I just thought them niggas was jumping around. Shit, I didn't know.
And they were.
I mean, yeah,
on ecstasy.
on that shit. Okay.
Yeah. So the Bay Area, I know way too much about this, but the Bay Area has a lot of good ecstasy because they have the Bay. Okay. So they have all the ships that can sneak shit in, so they have access to that shit.
Okay. Right? Okay. So go back to your moment. Go back to Sorry.
Yeah. My bad. You know,
educating the people.
Yeah. So that was it. That was when that was kind of like taking off and shit. And really, I got to a point where I was making money, having fun, and handling responsibilities as I thought, because I didn't have no responsibilities but to get some fucking good grades. That ain't shit.
That was it.
To make it to school on time and get good grades, that ain't shit.
Right.
You learn that when you get older. That's not shit. Anybody could do that. But at the time, I'm like, I'm handling my shit. Like, I'm cool. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I was out of hand. I was like real life out of hand. Like, I would drive on drugs. There was points when I would. There was 2-week periods where I would go 2 weeks without, like, every single day touching like harder drugs. Not hard. I wouldn't say hard drugs.
So do you mind if I ask?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah. Oh, so I was into cocaine and ecstasy and acid.
Really?
Yeah. As a 17-year-old.
God damn! I would have never known.
As a 17-year-old.
So.
Well, you did. We're getting to the reason why you never know, because you met me after this. Think about it. I'm gonna get there.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. I just even though you're saying, like, even though I know this is where we're going, even looking at you today, I would have never. You don't like. You don't look like, as most people say, you don't look like what you've been through, but I would have never got that.
I had so many people telling me when I was at Cypress College, like, oh, I never would have thought you could be a class president, because there's people who only see the other side of me.
Right.
Like, there's people who only saw me on Friday and Saturday nights. You know what I mean? And we were at house parties. We were at gangster house parties. We were fucking doing drugs, selling drugs. That's what we were doing. I was doing that at a young age with really, we were never, like crazy or full-fledged. Like, it was never a profession.
Right.
We were just kids who were making enough money to supply us to keep partying.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we could do drugs, sell some drugs, make enough money to do more drugs and sell more drugs and party. Like,
So another question is, when did you, or maybe you're going to get there, did you realize you had a problem? So
you start getting glimpses of ugliness. You start having some close calls. And a smart person will recognize those close calls as like a warning sign and take heed to them. I didn't do that. I got robbed one time and I was fucked up at the point that I got robbed, because that's what happens when you're selling drugs and doing drugs.
Yeah.
You can't do both.
Yeah.
Pick which one you want to do. You can't be just having fun and relaxing, and that's what I was doing because I was stupid.
Right.
So that was a warning sign. There was other days when I almost did meth on accident. That was a huge warning sign. Meth is that's a next level drug.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it doesn't seem like a lot of that's an easy one to let go of either. Like people struggle.
That one takes your life.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you escape it. That one takes your. If it doesn't take your life, not literally, it take your livelihood. I mean.
Yeah.
That's the one that'll take your wife and kids away from you. That's the one that's gonna.
That's a hard one.
That one's nuts. But yeah, so I almost did that. That was a close call I should have recognized, and other things I just didn't pay attention to, like the way it was affecting my skin, the way it was affecting my overall health at the time. See, I had insecurities about being fat, and I wasn't fat.
No, you're so small.
I was fucking skinny.
Yeah.
So I liked it because now I'm skinny. Right. Comfortably take my shirt off and shit. Right. But I'm not. I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy. This is what I should. What I should look like is what I look like right now. That's how I should look. Right. And
was there a reason why besides partying that you started?
Oh, I was escaping the fact that I was unhappy. That's what it really was. It wasn't. I mean, I like to party and I like to have fun, but what it really came down to, and I had to go. I mean, not to ruin the ending here, but I ended up having to go to a court-ordered psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist was the one kind of telling me that you're not an addict. He's like, I see addicts all day. He's like, you're self-medicating. He's like, you're smart enough. You're smart enough to know how to moderately self-medicate while still sustaining your life. And that's what I was. Like a functioning
addict almost?
Exactly. Pretty much.
That mean, you know what? Anytime I hear people with substance abuse issues, it always makes me very emotional because I feel like it's just that has to be overwhelming. The process of getting out of that. My mother was on drugs for a long time, and I remember the battle of watching her. And maybe yours wasn't completely different. But I remember that. And I just remember thinking, God, it takes so much strength to decide I'm not going to do that. Every
fucking day. All the bad decisions I made, right? And like I said, I had teachers who cared about me because I was a good student. So my teachers are like, I heard you're a little fucking druggy, bro. That's weird. And I had another teacher that he told me, he was like, this is super cute girl in my high school, and she was talking about me, and then someone was like, but he does a bunch of drugs, and she's like, oh, never mind. And I had a teacher come up to me and say, bro, you're losing girls because you're over here being. I just didn't give a fuck about what anybody said.
Did your mom know?
Shh, you got to ask her. I don't know how she could have not. Right. But we definitely
sometimes life happens and we just
It could be that, or it could be denial. You know how Mexican moms and their sons, it could have been denial. I don't know to this day. We never spoke about it.
Did your sister know?
Yeah.
Did she ever say anything?
Yeah, she was very judgmental.
So was it like Robert, get your shit together, or was it like
it wasn't inspiring or or helpful. It was another person to say, shut the fuck up. I'm doing what I want to do.
I'm doing what I want to do. Okay.
It was that it didn't work. But I'll tell her I can make $100 in 10 minutes.
Man.
Because these little white girls are gonna pick up some ecstasy pills off me. So if I want 5 for myself for Friday and Saturday, I'll pick up 15, and instead of losing money to do those drugs, I will make money.
That's heavy. Damn, I didn't expect that. God damn.
So, long story short, let's get to it. Let's get to the ugly moment. So, damn. I wonder if anybody from my family is gonna hear this.
Hopefully, everybody hears it. We want everybody to hear this.
This could be problematic, but okay. Hopefully not. I have an aunt, and her oldest son, my closest cousin, is doing life in prison. And that fucked her up something fierce. And from that point, she's been a self-medicator in my opinion, and this is no disrespect. You know, I love the fuck out of my Tia Martha. That's, you know, I don't want to say no more, but
right, you love her. Yeah, it is. That's your favorite auntie. That's your favorite auntie. That's your favorite auntie.
I can't lie. Yeah. Like, no disrespect if y'all hear this, fuck, but that's my, you know, and so she was a self-medicator and she got prescribed Xanax. And my mom was kind of like, at the time, she was an aggressive I don't want to say raging. She was an aggressive person who liked to drink alcohol. Okay. And so would you say that addiction is in the family? Yeah.
Okay.
But addiction to get any family, like it's like saying like, oh, would you say that like social media, like a lot of people in your family have social media? It's like, yeah, because everybody does.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Addiction is and you might not look at it like addiction because it might be coffee. Yeah. Or it might be social media.
Yes.
Or it might be
true.
sex. Yeah. But addiction is everywhere. So yeah, so it's in the family. My aunt, she had Xanax. She thought my mom could use it to calm down. She was trying to like help my mom be calm because she knew that, you know, me and my mom were having conflicts because of who I was and who my mom was. I don't think she knew I was on drugs, but she gave my mom the Xanax and my mom took one and did not like it. My mom does not like being high. She doesn't like, you know, feeling like out of control and loopy. Yeah. She's like, I got great sleep, but like I never want to feel like that again. So I had a bottle of Xanax that my mom wasn't going to touch sitting in the fucking cabinet. Now, keep in mind, this is before, see, now you have rappers named Lil Xan and shit. It wasn't cool to do Xanax when I was 17.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't like a trendy, now all these rappers talk about it and it's like doing it is like a thing, but like it wasn't a thing. I was just a little person who was trying to get loaded. Right. So I would, like other things, I would do the Xanax, I would sell the Xanax. I was doing that throughout that whole bottle. It was a lot in that bottle. Doing that for like maybe a month. And this was at the period that I was about to graduate. Okay, so 2010, any sports buffs out there know Lakers won the championship 2010. So the Lakers won the championship the week that I graduated, which was the week before EDC. EDC happens in June. Okay. Graduations are in June. NBA finals are in June. Okay. All this thing going on. I'm not making excuses. I'm just showing you the culture of what was going on. Right. I just graduated high school. I'm a young, you know, I do what the fuck I want. You know, I'm Robert Parler. Right. You know, and without looking back, I would say that I wasn't paying close enough attention to my health, my physical or my mental health. Right. I wasn't paying close enough attention, and if I was paying attention, this might not have happened. But long story short, the Lakers winning, we were going to go to EDC. Okay. We had picked up some acid. Okay. Acid's a very intense drug. Acid is a 12-hour commitment. You can't just like do acid and go to work. You drop acid, if it's like really good or strong stuff, you could be tripping for literally 14 hours. Like you could be, it could be difficult for you to function in any normal way for 14 hours. So it's I'm sorry. What's up?
I have never known anyone to do that. Well, I was shit. You know, maybe I did know somebody and I didn't know.
But I'll talk about it.
How do people do acid?
So acid is a very potent liquid that people typically or traditionally like in the 70s. So acid is like a 60s and 70s drug. That's the hippie drug. That's the Beatles. That's the.
How did you even do? I'm sorry. I have all these questions. How did you
rave even culture? Rave. You meet druggies. You meet not just. I don't even want to just call them druggies. These are some free spirited people. Some of them are like some of these people work for Google. You know, there's Google. Like I heard that there's a hiring process at Google where they won't even consider you if you haven't gone to Burning Man. Burning Man is like the most intense rave you could go to. It's like a rave in the middle of nowhere where you have to barter. Like you have to trade. I'll trade you some water for some acid. Oh, we have chips. I'll trade you chips for sex. That's how free spirited Burning Man is. And I heard from a person who was applying, and he was one of the people who had been to Burning Man. He was telling me when you go to Google, they want you think about Google. Think about how they are. Like they want open-minded people.
So these
makes sense.
I don't want to just limit them to calling them druggies. But
right.
For the record, probably at least a solid 70% of them are just fucking druggies.
Okay.
Right.
And so acid is liquid.
Acid.
All right, y'all. We learning together. So
acid's a liquid that is extremely potent. So like a Visine could be worth like a little Visine bottle full of acid. That could be worth about like $700 to $1,500 because one drop of that Visine can be worth $10 to $20.
And what do? They just drop it on their tongue?
If you have a Visine bottle, you can. Extremely dangerous because if you squeeze it too hard, because like I said, one.
So what, they just drop it in their hand? And then
you put one on a piece of paper. You wrap that piece of paper in foil, and that's how acid is sold. So you put it on like you could take that envelope right there, cut it into a little tiny square, drop the Visine bottle, wrap that in foil to keep it safe. Always keep it. Never mind. I shouldn't give the point.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Away.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. I'm just really surprised because I didn't realize. I don't think I realized it was that. I don't think, and it's probably like a terrible thing to say. I don't think I've known anybody black. I don't know if I. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say that I'm so surprised, I'm really surprised.
Yeah, like Tiger will have that line where he's like, "We'll do drugs, but we don't do acid." Like, but you gotta. Here's the other thing too. What's crazy is that as crazy as I am, I'll tell you, I promise you, these kids right now, they're crazier.
Oh, these kids, Gen Z is
these kids do drugs. These kids,
Gen Z is something else. I said it on one of my episodes. They will either change some shit or they'll fuck up some shit. There's not a really like a middle for them. They are either with it or they ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, okay, so you were selling the pills.
So at this time, all this great shit is going on in my life. I'm graduating high school. Summertime's coming.
Right.
Like, you're excited just for summer, but now I just graduated high school, like, and the Lakers won, and EDC's coming. I'm on a good one, Acid's super strong, so before we go to EDC, we wanted to like take it so we can see how it'll affect us. We don't want to ruin our night because it's too strong, or
and you get sick or something,
or ruin our night because we don't feel anything. So my genius self, on a night after I had done ecstasy, recreational, just like casual, like I can't believe that I even, as an 18-year-old,
casually did ecstasy.
Was casually doing ecstasy.
Okay.
Casually, right? I don't remember when I ate last before doing the ecstasy, by the way, but you can't really eat when you're on it. Woke up in the morning, wasn't feeling too great because you don't feel great after doing ecstasy.
Okay.
Popped a couple Xanax.
More than one.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever popped at that time. I don't know if I ever popped one.
Okay.
That's the kind of shit I was on. So
that's heavy. Okay.
Took a couple, and then we were supposed to go to the beach. We're going to the beach, and before I leave, I'm like, oh shit, today would be a good day to try out the tabs. We're going to the beach. I'll try out the acid. And long story short, I ended up in the hospital. And there's some details that people would find funny between what I just said and what I just said, but it's not funny to me.
No.
People have tried to like kind of undercut how serious of an event that was. It was fucking, that shit. Oh my God.
So when you say you winded up in the hospital, did you winded up in the hospital
woke up in the hospital.
Or you woke up in the hospital like you overdosed?
So, and I told the woman, I asked, I was like, what the hell happened? She's like, you OD'd. And I was like, you can't OD on acid because smart, intelligent Robert researches everything. And according to research, you can't overdose on acid.
But it wasn't Robert, just acid, right? Like it was all the stuff?
Here's the thing. Robert knows all this. Robert's so smart. He knows more than everybody. You can't OD on acid. She said, okay, so what are you doing here? You can't overdose on acid in the way that you can overdose on cocaine. You're not going to physically die from the acid that's in your system. But I put myself in a situation where my heart was like through the roof, like damn near about to give myself a heart attack. And
at 18.
And
wow.
the reality I was experiencing around me was far from what was existing in my head. So if you look at that as an overdosage, like you have too much, that's exactly what it was. And it even kind of like it ended up physically affecting me because I was being taken to the hospital. Like, there's no way your body can be at rest or at peace while you're right. So, it was hard. I woke up. I thought I was. I had the whole. I can't believe I'm getting this real with you right now. But you know what?
Thank you.
If you're gonna get this real on your show, I'm gonna get this real on your show.
I appreciate you.
I woke up like
restrained,
and that was strange. Imagine waking up restrained.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, like, I didn't know what was, like, I was like, what the hell is going on? My friends that I was with never came to the hospital. My mom was contacted, never came to the hospital.
She's pissed.
I
don't know why this it always surprises me when people tell me stories and I get emotional. Because it's just so.
I'm gonna work real hard to not get emotional. I could easily take myself there, but we not.
No, okay. No.
What we not about to do is cry on camera.
Right. Not Mosaicc. Okay.
Push these emotions to the back like men in this country do.
All right.
Just today though, because we'll face our demons when we're alone, but not right now. So, So my mom never came. That really offended me and offends me to this day. But I understand. She was hurt. She was sad. My dad came. My mom and my dad are not together. My dad came. He ended up leaving.
He couldn't see you that way.
No, that's not what it was. He had no problem with that. He actually had no problems taking photos of me while I wasn't conscious.
Okay.
And sending those photos to our family, suggesting, this is what happens when he goes and lives with his mom.
Oh,
see what happens?
Oh no, Pops.
Yeah, so
how's that relationship?
We're not talking about that today.
Okay.
But it's damn near non-existent.
Okay.
It's tiptoeing every day is just tiptoeing to non-existent.
Okay.
We live in the same city. We've seen each other 10 times in the past 13 years.
Damn.
It's all good. So he comes. He ended up leaving because of he's a control freak. And when I came to, like, when I started realizing where I was at and what was going on, my dad was there. And I was like, where's my phone? I needed to talk to people. Like, mom.
Where you at? Like, yeah.
Sister. My homies. Like, I'm supposed to go to EDC tomorrow. Like, shit. Like, where the fuck's, what's up? Like, what? Damn, like.
What's going on?
I need my phone.
Right.
And he's like, and my dad would be like, I'd be like, where's my phone? He'd be like, so what'd you do yesterday? I'd be like, can you get my phone? Like, where's my phone? And he's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, he's like saying shit that was like playing with my fucking mind. I was like, bro, can you just give me my phone? He's like, you don't need your phone. You don't need your phone. You don't need your phone. He goes outside to go flirt with nurses and shit. That's the type of cat he is. He's outside like talking to nurses. I get out of my, they had taken me out of my restraints at this point. I get up. I find my backpack. I find my phone. I start making calls and making texts. He's so offended by that.
Because he's there with you in that moment.
Like, you don't need anything but me. I'm savior. I'm big dog. You and your mom are leading yourself down a terrible path. I'm big, homie's going to save the day. You don't need your phone. You don't need your phone. Right? And he was so offended by that, he left. So I had to walk a couple miles.
So they released you?
They had to release me to nobody. So they had to release me when they felt like I was fine, which took longer. And I had to walk a couple miles, ask people for money to catch the bus
to get home,
to come home. I was in clothes that I had soiled. I didn't have shoes. I was at the beach at the time. Like, I'm sure my shoes were somewhere in the sand, whatever. Right. I had shoes, but like didn't have shoes. So I'm like walking barefoot. And then when I get home, I finally make it home. My mom, she didn't kick me out like you need to get your stuff and leave. She didn't kick me out like you have 5-10 days to figure some shit out. She locked me out. So I came in those clothes and couldn't even go in the house.
That's heavy, Robert.
Called my sister to tell her, like, can you tell mom to let me in the house? Like, can I come take a fucking shower? Like, get some clothes? My sister utilized that moment to tell her, see what I told you? I told you shouldn't be doing this. No, I support mom. You're not coming inside. And I, so I'm not trying to put this shit on them. Like,
no. I know you're not. But so
it was hard.
That was going to be my next question. So you go through this like extremely traumatic event, and
nobody was there.
My
homies weren't there. My parents weren't there. My family wasn't there.
So then, what now? Before you go back, what does that do to your mentality when you think of?
Man, it turned me.
It has to.
The way that I am now, like. A lot of it has to do with that because, at the time, the friend who I was at the beach with, I made so many sacrifices to be a good friend to that person.
Right.
The next day, that person went to EDC still.
Really?
While and he was like, you can kick it at my house for a little bit, but when I go to EDC, my mom said you can't be here. I'm like, bro, like, you heard what I said? Like, I OD'd yesterday. My mom won't let me in the house. Like, but for that person, the show must go on. And that kind of it showed me what people can do and how people can be.
I feel like,
and it really put like it's on me. So I got a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here. I had a homegirl. Who she's not my homegirl, she's one of my best friends in the whole fucking world. I love her to this day. I'll do anything for her to this day. She knows that. And we had gone to school my whole life, and her mom literally nursed me to health. Like there was days where I'm sleeping for like 18, 19 hours. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, I was unhealthy at the time. Like I'm not.
So now your body is like rebooting all the way.
God. So she was like, she would steam my face so I could like sweat out and like clear up my skin, which was disgusting, which I blamed on puberty, but it wasn't puberty. It was
the drugs.
The drugs. And she steamed my face, and her mom would cook for me, and they let me sleep there, and they let me be there. And eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I'm alive. I'm okay, cool. I'm not feeling weak and hungry and insecure and lost and alone. Like I feel I'm gonna go back to my house and tell my mom, shit, let me in this bitch. Right. You know what I mean? Like, damn, let me get my clothes at least. Like, let me grab some clothes.
Right.
So I did that, and my mom let me stay there. You know what I mean? That's what happened. So
did you guys ever get over this? Do you feel like you guys ever got over it?
We haven't spoken about it. She's not ready. I'm ready. She's not ready. It hurts her. Like she has family members that were drug addicts, and like drugs like ruined some of her family members' life. Like even family members who were in Ivy League schools, literally, this is not an exaggeration, literally in Ivy League schools where drugs took them from those Ivy League schools to prison. So she, was rightfully upset. Like she was upset and she's hurt and she still is. So we haven't really talked about it like that. But here's what happened. There's conditions. I was like all types of, I had never been grounded in my life, but this was like way more than grounded.
Right.
What was going on.
In jail now.
Exactly. I was in jail, essentially. And then later it got to the point where she was like, well, you can go outside. I would go out to the skate park. I live across the street from the skate park. This is when I got good at skateboarding, because I was wake up at 8 a.m. and just skate all day and come back home, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, skate all day, because I can't do shit else. Like she didn't want me hanging out with people. I didn't want to be hanging out with people. Her and my sister, kind of guilt tripped me into feeling really bad about myself. Now, this is all going on the summer after we graduated high school. So what are my friends doing? Partying, doing drugs, the same shit we were doing. And I start hearing rumors that people are joking about the situation. Like there's only 2 people that were with me that day that experienced whatever happened between beach and hospital. And whatever that was, I don't
You still don't know.
Even if I remember certain things, but my perception of it is different than what was reality.
Right.
So my perception don't really matter. Whatever that was funny enough for them to joke about it and tell everybody. So everybody knows about what's going on. And I'm like, they're joking about it. Like something that's very serious to me. That was painful. And then, you know, I was on a mission to be sober. I was like, you know what? This is bad. Like, look at what I've done. Look at what I'm doing. Like,
you could have killed yourself.
I could have killed myself. I used to justify, like I said, doing drugs. Like, but I'm cool with my family. No, I'm not cool with my family. I almost lost my job because I wasn't able to go to work because I was in the hospital for 2 days. And then at my homegirl's house, like, I didn't even think about calling work. And they're like, where the fuck you at?
Right.
So I lost my job and I'm like, damn, so I don't have a job. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm like going through it and shit. And, I was on a mission to be sober. And the first thing that I found out when I was on a mission to be sober, when I wasn't hitting anybody up,
they were talking about you.
Not just that. They weren't talking to me. Nobody hit me up. I started realizing, I'm like, oh, when I don't hit people up, they don't hit me back.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the calls that come in and the texts that come in. They were all drug related. They were all, hey, you got this? You know where I could get this? When I went like 30 days without texting anybody first, nobody reached out. Everybody knew the story. Nobody said, yo, how you doing? Yo, let me come visit you. Hey, let's go skate or do something sober together. Nobody did that. They're still partying. They're still doing what they want to do. The only text that came in is, you got weed? You got pills? You got acid? You know where I can find shrooms? And I was like, what have I turned my life into? Like, what? Like, I've cultivated this friendship. You know, you can't take Deanna when she graduated high school. She wasn't getting hit up for shrooms and pills and weed and coke. That was me. That's because of what I did. That's years, because it was at that time, it was 2.5 years. That's years of partying and doing that and creating that identity for myself. And I was mad and I was fucking down on myself. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not a fucking drug addict. I'm better than this. And that's when I got enrolled in Cypress College.
And then life just
ready to change shit.
So I have a question. So how long have you been sober?
Well, I can't say I'm sober. I drink. I smoke weed. Before Jeremiah came, I would still fuck around sometimes.
And you weren't scared of like falling back into really? And you still did it though.
I still did it, yeah. And you know, for the record though, after this, so this happened in 2010. We're in 2020. It's 10 years ago. Damn. Yeah. It's 10-year anniversary. We're in the summer of 2020. Yeah. It's 10 years. So in between that time, until the quarantine, actually, I started smoking weed in the quarantine. I probably smoked weed maybe 5 times that whole. So it's not like it's not like I was smoking weed. And,
right.
But there would be times I would have moments of vulnerability. Like there would be times when I would, you know, feel like Superman again and like, oh, I can do it. Oh, there was a long period of full sobriety. Okay. No alcohol included. And
what made you start doing alcohol or drinking again? Or
I never felt like an addict. I never felt like I had to stop. And to this day, I don't. I'm not an addict. There's difference. It's a difference. If you want to say I had a substance abuse problem, cool. And I ended up, I don't want to talk about that and how that relates to the situation, but I ended up catching a case off this.
Okay.
And I had to do what they call a PC 1000 program where they educate you about substance abuse and shit like that. And you take they piss test you whenever they want. You're on probation, the whole shit. You got to go to AA meetings and you got to say you're an alcoholic. When you go to the AA meetings or the NA meetings, they do not let you not say you're not an addict. They're like, you wouldn't be here. Like, you know, so I was saying, you know, after 9 months of saying you're an addict, I had really had it in my head that I was an addict. But like I said, when I went to go get psychoanalyzed, he's like, dude, you're not an addict. Like, he's like, you're not an addict.
So do you feel like the things that made you do drugs, do you feel like you've healed from them since?
Many of them, yeah. All of them, no. You know, any drug addict, any person who's done a lot of drugs will tell you that demon is with you for the rest of your fucking life.
And so is it like a constant thing? This is very different, but every day I have to tell myself, like, Deanna, you are not going to do this, whatever this is, you know. So do you wake up and say, you know what, Rob?
It took years, but I cultivated a culture in my life where I don't need to talk to myself like that because I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm around I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm around drugs a lot. I'm in Southern California in the entertainment industry.
Right.
I'm around drugs a lot. And I don't need to I don't have to. There have been points when I had to do that, but I don't have to do that because I'm too focused on what I want to do right now, and I'm too
on the bigger picture of what's to come.
That's what it's really about. And way more of if I was ever an addict, what I've always been more of is a motivated person. What I've always been more of is a community leader. What I've always been more of is a person who cares about my brothers and sisters. So like it's hard for the substance abuse to take control because I really sincerely care about my music. I really sincerely care about my son. Yeah. I really sincerely care about when I'm in a relationship. I really sincerely care about the relationship, and the drugs are not going to help any of those things. When I'm at work, I take my job seriously, and drugs don't help with any of that. So it's like, I think you have to be completely lost in the drugs or kind of like a piece of shit person. You know what I mean? You're
just in a low place, and that's all you have.
And that's what I was going to say. And that's why that demon, real quick, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's what that demon never leaves you. And I tell people all the time, I try to tell my little homies, they do drugs, like, nah, but I'm cool. I'm straight. I don't be extra out. I'm like, but look, addiction doesn't come when your life is good. My life was good. Shit, Lakers won. I graduated high school. My life was good. Addiction comes when your parents die. Addiction comes when your girlfriend leaves you. Addiction comes when you lose your child. So now if
you hit a low,
addiction comes. That's the devil that I've danced with. And thank God, I've hit some lows and I've been through some things, but thank God I haven't been put in a situation where I ever felt susceptible to addiction since this point. The most susceptible I've ever been to addiction was at this point when I was 18 years old. And I've never hit a low, and I don't particularly intend to, but you never know what's coming. And that's the scary part. When you lose your house because your house got set on fire and all your baby pictures are in a fucking burned up and you don't have shit and you lose everything, and you know that the drugs are right there. That's the hard part.
I always feel like it takes really big things in people's lives to make them become clean again. And I feel like it sucks, but I feel like that's how God just has it to be. I feel like he shows you.
I thank God all the time that I was so young. I know it sounds crazy, but there was people that was a pivotal
life moment
at a young age.
Yes.
I'll take it back then than at 35.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
People learn those lessons at 40. My mom didn't start drinking alcohol till she was 25. And alcohol ended up being a problem in her life.
My mother didn't start doing drugs until 6 months after she had Mookie. We didn't realize it, but I really think she had postpartum. My mom is a fabulous mother. She had her holes, but she was awesome. But I think postpartum, I think loneliness, I think so many things. But when did my mom get clean? When her mother passed away. And my grandmother spoke to everybody in our family, but she did not talk to my mom because my mom was out doing her thing. And it was that big hit at, I don't know, she had Michaela at 42, and maybe at 40, 45, where it was like, oh shit. It just changed her whole life.
So I love the black and brown excellence movements that we see going on because I replaced drugs with excellence. And that's what you saw at Cypress College. That was my attempt at excellence. My getting involved in AS and maintaining my responsibilities and doing my best. I wasn't perfect though, but that was my version of excellence. My grades at the time, I had a 3.75. There's kids with 4.0s, but it's hold up though. But I was.
Did you know where I came from? Yeah, this 3.75 is good.
I missed 82 days my senior year of school. Still graduated because my grades.
There's only 180 days in school though.
Thank you.
Wow. And that's what's crazy because.
But my grades are so tight, and I had such a fucking slick mouth that I could talk my teachers out of.
Yeah.
And I would.
And if teachers like you, If they like you, they'll give you a little pass.
I was smart enough to pass to graduate, but when I was like, but yeah, so I try to turn it around. That's what I was trying to do. Like when you met me, I was on a mission to turn it around. I was on a mission to be president of Cypress College. I don't give a fuck that I had homies. People think that like I come from this ASB like nerdy. I don't come from that. I just told you about my mom and her brothers. I come from a family of disadvantaged people who go through all the shit that disadvantaged people go through. The drugs and the prison and the violence and the gang banging, all that.
It's very interesting though, because as long as I've known you, I probably was one of the people that just thought that you just had it together. And not that you don't have it together, but I would have never seen this. To me, you look like someone that like you lived in Orange County and you like, it's just like a little biracial boy that,
I'm not mad.
You know, like, and what a beautiful thing, because I think God does things like that for a reason, because you're able to now touch all kinds of people. I feel like when people like you in particular, where you can kind of go anywhere and you can connect with anybody, I don't feel like it's without a reason. Like, I feel like God does that so you can connect with all kind of people, because who better to listen to than the man that has had a problem with drugs?
I did both sides. Like I tell people, I know what, I did the partying, I did the sex, I did the selling drugs, I did the drugs, like, and I could tell, and I tell people like, what I started realizing is like, all that shit's cool. In high school, all that shit's cool. Man, it's also cool to like go to college and meet like new girls and like do different things. Like it's cool to like live a positive life.
And that's okay.
A positive life is cooler.
Right.
And let's talk to all those people who were cool in high school because they were selling drugs and gangbanging and doing all that extra shit. Let's talk to them and see like, are you still cool? No. Their bodies look like shit. Their faces like shit. They're in financial despair. Like, right? Like it's
life is not what it is. Like it's not good.
When you live a positive life stays good.
That's true.
And opportunities continue to be created.
That's true.
I'm still indirectly experiencing the positive consequences of being involved in AS at Cypress College. The leadership qualities I learned, and dealing with personalities, and you remember Michael Amaya? You know how much he taught me.
You know what?
If you're listening, bro, it's love, but you're tough, bro. And then like, and
he is a strong he has a doctorate degree now, and he's a strong.
Go ahead.
He is a strong personality, but Michael's still strong, and I think and I forgot that you guys work together.
And you learn, like I learned how to manage emotions. I learned how to deal with different types of people. That's a huge quality.
It's so funny. I have a video of you, me, and Michael.
I have it too.
Do you have that?
When I have the gun, like or the little.
And I have on Playboy bunny ears, like Easter bunny ears, and we're dancing, and I remember.
That's funny.
Good times. So damn, I had a question for you and I just literally slipped my mind.
I have something to say.
Yes, say it.
So I discovered Nipsey Hussle in 2009. So if you recall, like this whole story.
2016 though, did you open for him in 2016?
I did.
I remember.
Would you do a little bit of homework or what? How'd you know that?
No, I remember because I had not had Danny long and I wanted to go, but I couldn't get a sitter.
So I did the show in Orange County at the Observatory with Nipsey in 2016, but discovered him in 2009, and all this happened in 2010. So when we talk about the way I love Nipsey, like you might love the song, bitch, you broke, shut up, like
right.
Nah, like he was healing too. Was the soundtrack to the healing I did from that point until the day he fucking died. He was the motivating force that was telling you, bro, this life ain't shit. That negativity ain't shit. selling drugs, there's a cell waiting on you in the state penitentiary. Man. Like, you know, there's nothing good coming from that. He was doing that. So I'm over here, like, I'm getting good grades and shit, but I'm listening to Nipsey. Like, I'm in the gym working out. People are like, are you, like, do you take, people started asking me if I take steroids. I'm like, bro, I'm not that big. But, like, I'm listening to Nipsey. I'm like, nah, fuck. I want to be fucking healthy. I want to look good. I want to feel good. I want to, like, boss up. Like, oh, mailbox money. I never thought about that. I'm on some, like, that's what, you know, was the soundtrack to my excellence the whole time was Nipsey. That was what I was listening to. Like, before, it wasn't cool. He wasn't on a radio. It wasn't about the turn up songs with YG for me at all. I was listening to how he went through similar fucking things. He went through highs and lows and he dealt with consequences of his actions and decided that he wanted to do something different and positive. And people laughed at that. The way my homies would laugh at me for being class president. People still laugh at me to this day. And I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean?
The lessons that it brought me.
It doesn't take away anything about anything. Like,
no, not at all.
It doesn't make me any less
anything
strong or anything. Yeah. Like, you could laugh and you could look at it like it's stupid, but I look at what you do maybe and laugh and look like it's stupid. Like, it's a strength. It was hard for me. That wasn't my forte, and I made it and I did it so well, and I ended up getting a job off of it, and I ended up being able to empower blacks and Mexicans off of that. That was my introduction to closing the achievement gap. And I love it, and I'm proud.
As you should be. You're awesome.
Ass. You know what I mean?
I hate you.
Kiss my fucking ass.
So
this is fun.
And is it? I'm happy that you're enjoying it. It's good. I like doing this. I think this is I think I found my lane finally. So with all of this stuff that we've discussed, as we get ready to kind of wrap it up. Well, before we even do that, let me backtrack. Excuse that. Any new music?
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on with you currently.
Okay, so I'll let everybody know when I'm not working on music. So if you see me, I'm working on music until otherwise noted. Right now, to be honest, I wrote a bunch of songs that were great to release if there was no pandemic and social uprising. Yes. But the music that I wrote, and I love it. I love my shit. I love my music. Right. But it doesn't match
the times,
the energy going on. So I feel out of pocket to release it. So I'm not gonna scratch it. We're gonna find something to do with this music that I've written. I might post more freestyles and more kind of like short-term visuals while I work on something else that's more appropriate for everything going on. Okay. So but nonetheless, I have songs that are written. I have music that's recorded. I have a bunch of artists that I'm excited to already have work with, and there's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
He's burping because he's been drinking beer. So
yeah, I do that. I tend to do that. Beer.
Okay, so I always ask everybody that comes and sits with me and spends quality time with me to leave people with 3 things. 3 things that you want them to. Your low was low. Okay. But you obviously, I don't even know if we really hit that, and maybe we'll have to do a part 2 at some point, but the rebuilding of that, of how you've, overcame. And I guess I feel like it's kind of obvious because of all the things now. But what is 3 things that you want people to, when they hear this, they don't hear only like the bad things, or the moments of low, but 3 things that you want to leave them with. Encouraging 3 things.
The first thing is be willing to check yourself and be willing to be checked. If I'm gonna be so hard headed that I'm not gonna listen to my body, or I'm not gonna listen to the doctors, I'm not gonna listen to my parents and my friends or whoever's telling me like all the science saying to stop, you'll die or you'll lose it all. So be willing to check yourself. I had to own up and be like, nah, I'm fucking up. I need to correct this, and then be willing to put the work in to correct it. So that's the first thing. Check yourself and be willing to be checked. The second thing is, it's not as big a deal as you might think. Like, it's not everyone's not talking about you. Everyone's not
right.
But it feels like that sometimes. Like when you hit a low and like, or you fuck up, it might feel like everybody's like was watching that and they're judging you. But like a lot of times that's just in your head. Like all that matters. Sometimes the bounce back is even more beautiful than the original life in the first place.
And that's why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it happened. I'm sorry. These are your three things. Go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
Shit, chime in. I'm not, but like, yeah. So don't be so discouraged by the falls. Don't or think it's like a big deal. You could bounce back, and sometimes the bounce back's even better. And the last thing I would say, I'll quote Nip, and it's corny, but just don't quit. Because Nipsey said that's the only distinguishing quality between him and anybody else who has done this or is doing this or is gonna do this, is that you don't quit. That's right. The only difference between him, and that's the difference between you and I. If you intend to quit or if you're gonna end up quitting, just don't quit. Keep going. A million times I wanted to step away and stop doing what I was doing, and the universe would bless me with visions of reason why I need not to, in the form of opportunities being created, in the form of people telling me how I affect their lives in a positive manner, in the form of making $3,500 in one day, where it's like, okay, keep fucking going. If you keep going, you're gonna find more reasons to keep going. Just don't quit. Don't quit.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm like looking at him. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I honestly, I think you're amazing. And I feel like the way that you just, like, one of my big things with Redefine is that I want to have hard conversations that people are uncomfortable. I want to make, when someone listens to this, I want to make them uncomfortable.
Oh, my family's going to be real uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, sorry. So sorry. But my goal is to make people uncomfortable because I feel like that type of stuff helps people. And if we sit on testimony, right? Like, you can't save anybody. And that saves people. I've realized that when I tell people things that like it helps them, it saves them, it plants a seed. And even if they're not ready to receive it, they plant the seed for it. And life will water things for you even when you're not expecting them to. And so I really appreciate you being so open and so transparent.
I'm happy to be here. I'm proud of you for having a platform that welcomes that kind of growth.
I love when people talk about I got a platform. Hello, she is building it.
You do.
Family, thank you so much for tuning in to Redefine the podcast. I cannot wait to learn, grow, and redefine who we are together. All love, y'all.